Welcome to the Florida Keys. Over the next couple of days, join us on our adventure as we drive all the way from Miami right down to Key West. Along the way, we are going to hit some amazing tourist attractions. We are going to eat at some really beautiful restaurants. There's so much to see and do here in the Florida Keys. We start our adventures off in Key Largo. Driving from mainland Florida, visitors to the Florida Keys enter the 125-mile-long subtropical island chain at Key Largo, the longest and northmost island of the Keys. Key Largo is bordered on the west by Florida Bay and the Everglades National Park backcountry, and to the east by the Atlantic Ocean, home to the clear waters of the Gulf Stream. Visitors can enjoy Key Largo's ties to the sea with attractions that include scuba diving, snorkeling, there's an underwater hotel, there's sport fishing, eco tours, beaches, and of course, who doesn't love a dolphin encounter or two? The island also offers a variety of onshore attractions, including 2 state parks, one of which you are going to be seeing today, nonprofit organizations dedicated to restoring coral reefs. We go to the sweetest coral nursery. There are shaded nature trails all throughout the island and a rehabilitation center for wild birds. And nestled inside a tranquil botanical garden offering 14 airy rooms and suites, we are getting to stay at the Kona Resort. It is a hidden oasis in Key Largo. There is so much more coming up on Morning Live. Well, you are now joining us at John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park. Now, believe it or not, this is the very first undersea park in the United States. It boasts 74 campsites. You can either bring your RV or you can just bring your tent. There's so many different activities for you to do here at this national park. They have scuba diving, they have snorkeling, there's glass bottom boat tours, and you can check out the Florida Keys living coral reef. The snorkeling is unmatched like any other. The colors that you will see, you've never seen these before. Divers can experience the thrill of discovering the underwater Christ of the Deep statue, symbolizing peace of mankind, and it rests in nearly 25 feet of water at Key Largo Dry Rocks. The visitor center has a 30,000-gallon saltwater aquarium, plus there's 6 other ones to check out. There's kayaking, there is paddleboarding, and of course there is saltwater fishing in designated areas. Now, the park was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1972, but it was established in 1960, and it is named after John Pennekamp, a Miami Herald newspaper associate editor and columnist who also helped to create the Everglades National Park. So this guy definitely knew what he was doing. There's so much more coming up on Morning Lives. Our tour of the Keys continues. Well, we just spent a beautiful afternoon at John Pennekamp State Park, and now we are at Mote Marine Laboratory. This is where they actually have a home and grow coral. This is a coral nursery summer. This is so cool.
Yes, this is one of our coral nurseries in the Florida Keys. And just like a plant nursery, we grow our baby coral here on site.
I love that. Tell me about the process, because you did take me to a little bit of a walk around to show me all the different baby coral that you have. What's this?
Yeah, so this is our elkhorn coral. So this coral is about 4 to 6 months old, and we grew it here on site at the nursery. So At this stage, they're ready to be outplanted back on our local reefs, or we can refragment them down in a process called microfragmentation that we'll be showing you today.
All right, let's get at it. I'm excited.
Awesome, yep. So we'll be doing this process called microfragmentation. What that is cutting the coral into smaller pieces, and by aggregating the tissue, what we can do is we can speed up that growth process by 30 to 50 times.
I literally feel like you guys are saving the ocean one piece of coral at a time.
Yes, yeah, it is. One piece, one fragment at a time.
Honestly,
So
it's fascinating.
we're using a specialized bandsaw today.
Okay.
It's very similar to what you can find in any wood shop. The only difference, instead of little sand grits on the edge, it's diamonds. So a little more expensive, but the same process. And so what we can do is we can use this blade to cut our coral.
Okay.
So it's powered by a foot pedal. So when we turn it on, you'll see it also has salt water in it. So that's helping our coral, lowering the amount of stress that our coral goes through.
Yep.
The other unique thing about this is while it can cut through our coral, it won't cut through us. So you can put your finger right on it. It's relatively safe practice for us.
Okay, all right, let's see how it's done.
So the first step is we're gonna cut off the ceramic stem. So the coral lives on this ceramic base. So this is just a straight cut. We've got 4 points of contact. And we can just go straight through, letting the blade do all the work, making a singular cut.
Okay. And how often do you have to cut the coral? Like you can refragment it or you can put it back in the ocean, but does it happen kind of every 4 to 6?
Yep, so our coral grows at different stages based off of the species and genotype. So for this species in particular, it's about every 4 to 6 months we can refrag it.
Okay.
So the next step is we're gonna cut it into strips.
Okay.
And then we can get it into our final size. So this one again, we're just making those straight cuts.
I always thought coral would be a really hard mineral, like, I want to call it a stone or a mineral. It's not, it's coral. But I always thought it would be very hard, like it would be very difficult to cut through it.
So it is relatively difficult to cut through. That's why we have to use the diamond encrusted bandsaw. Yeah, so once we get it to this size, what we can do is using the same technique, we're gonna cut it to our final size.
Can we show people like kind of what we do after the fact? Only because we're running out of time and I don't want people to walk away from this not knowing.
Yeah, so once we get it to this final size, so I'll make that cut.
Okay.
So now we're at 1 centimeter squared, which is conveniently about the same size as your pinky fingernail to check it.
Okay.
From here, what we'll do is we'll glue it on to a plug. So we can take our plugs like this. We actually use super glue. So same super glue you can find in the store, but it's reef safe. And from here, all that we do is we add a small drop of our super glue on.
And put the piece of coral on, and then in 4 to 6 weeks, or 4 to 6 months,
it'll grow to the full size. So
4
here,
to 6 months, this is what it's gonna look like.
And then we'll just let it grow out on a rack just like this in our nursery here on site.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah.
What a wonderful educational way to get out, really enjoy the wildlife here, and get out and enjoy the coral life and everything that comes with it. And like I said, saving the ocean one piece of coral at a time. Lots more coming up on Morning Live. This is the end of day 1. Day 2, we actually meet a local from Burlington. He's got a brewery down here in the Florida Keys. That's all coming up on Morning Live. Welcome to Key Largo Conch House on the Florida Keys. Our tour continues. This is such a great spot. The food is award-winning. Adrian is joining me, who is the CEO, and you're celebrating 20 years next year?
Absolutely. Family-run, locally owned business for 20 years in the Florida Keys. It's something we're very proud of.
I bet.
And a milestone, most certainly.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm noticing as I'm looking around at your really cool decorations, because the atmosphere here is very cool. What are the trophies for?
Absolutely. We've competed locally and regionally in South Florida and won awards and trophies for our conch fritters, our conch chowder, and some of our other entrees. So it's a real accomplishment to reach that goal, especially a small business like ours.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What do we have here? What are we going to be feasting on? Tell me dish by dish, but I want you to end with the key lime pie because I already know what that is.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the big thing for us at the Key Largo Conch House is we use fresh seafood and we combine it with local ingredients and try to create a real island cuisine experience.
Yes.
Okay, so our lobster and conch ceviche kind of brings two very delicacies for the Florida Keys, conch and lobster. This is something that takes about 2 hours to prepare. We marinate it for about 8 hours. We make it in small batches, fresh daily, and we use only local seafood from our local purveyor.
Delicious.
Absolutely.
Okay, what's next? These, I know what these are too.
Oh yeah, coconut shrimp. You cannot ever go wrong with Key West pink shrimp and coconut. Again, fresh coconut. This is something that we pride ourselves in. Fresh ingredients, a homemade orange marmalade sauce, just to add a little sweetness to it.
Oh my God. And you can only get these shrimp in Key West.
That's right.
In the Keys.
That's right. So again, very fortunate to be here to have a local provider that brings us to it. It's very unique to be in a place where you can get seafood that you can serve that day that was caught that morning.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, straight from there to here. So.
Okay, now these are the award winners, right?
These award winners, staple conch fritters. You cannot be in the Florida Keys without trying our conch fritters. And these, I can't tell you the recipe. I can tell you there's a little bit of curry in there, but that's all I can tell you.
My goodness. If I had a trophy, I would give you one.
Oh, we appreciate it. We can put one up.
Everywhere. Okay, and then everybody knows this.
Everybody knows you've got to end it with a little sweet, a little tang, and that's the key lime pie. Again, you're going to try different ones throughout the island chain. Some people do different things. Everything we do is homemade. We make the crust as well.
Yeah, is that why yours is the best?
I think so, absolutely. That's why people come back and just ask for that. So.
Do you find you have a lot of regulars here? I feel like it has that vibe.
We do, definitely.
Yeah.
Again, because of that environment, that family feel, we have people that come year after year, if they're not from around here, if they're up in Canada or from the Midwest and Northeast.
Yeah.
And then we have our locals, obviously, that come more often.
Of course. Okay, well, thank you so much for having us. We've got about 30 seconds left. Tell me what this is and what this is.
Absolutely. Let's start with a key lime mimosa. Okay, always refreshing. And again, using fresh key lime juice makes it the key special, if you will.
Of course.
And then we love wine here, so we always go with our homemade sangria. This is a mixed berry. We make this fresh daily, and we mix up what we have to offer. So.
Well, this is incredible. Key Largo Conch House. You need to come here if you're heading to the Keys. This is a must-see, must-try restaurant. Into that, cheers.
Cheers.